This time on Low Boost, we head over to LEL Customs and check out our 1953 Ford F100 pickup truck and see how it looks, all painted up. Stay tuned. Alright, so we're at LEL Customs in Nassau, New York, and the amount of times that I've dropped in to check on them and see how everything is going has actually really made me appreciate the actual craft and art that is bodywork and getting this truck to look as good as it possibly can. Lou and his entire team there have worked countless hours to try to get this truck as smooth as possible. Even this roof right here, they did multiple times over. It actually might have been a fire truck or something like that in the past life because it had a light bar on the top of it, which is really, really interesting. But there was a number of things that they had to do on this truck to get it just right. So I'm going to go over everything that they did in this video. So make sure you guys stay tuned to the end of it because you're going to get to see the finished product of what it looks like to do an entire bodywork and paint job restoration on a vintage truck like this. Not only did they take everything apart inside the doors and everything, they wanted to make sure there was no rust or anything, and all the rust that they had on these panels, a lot of it was pitted, and they had to do a lot of different things to be able to get that out. So it took multiple coats of primer and then sanding down the primer to find any more imperfections, get it as smooth as possible. Even the hood had some pitting in it, and it took multiple coats to get it right. With the front end swap that we did with the Crown Vic and the V8, it actually had to have the front firewall modified, and I'll show you this here. So the 351 engine with the Crown Vic front end actually sits really far back, and the back of the engine was actually hitting the firewall. So this whole firewall that you see here, that entire front piece had to be completely cut out, and Lou actually had to get a separate firewall and weld it all in to get everything to fit. Now that's going to mean the front of this thing is going to look absolutely smooth when it's all done, but it is a lot of custom fabrication to get right. So if you're doing a 351 swap like this, you maybe have to be prepared to do something like this as well. Here's another good shot of the engine in with the firewall, test fitting everything. They must have taken this truck apart like 10 times to make sure everything is test fit perfectly so that there's no, nothing rubbing, no gaps or anything like that to make it all work. Here's a good shot of it there before it gets welded. And he took a lot of extra time inside the cab here because the transmission actually sits a little higher with the C4. So he had to custom make a bracket, that plate that sits over the transmission to get everything to work just right. And you can see what he's doing there. Is that the original?
Yeah, that's the original pan, so I'm trying to keep it all. I bent it up, I cut it, I relief cut it so I could bend it up.
Here's a nice shot of what it looks like before he started sanding it down and smoothing it all out. Alright, so now the frame is just about done. We've got the nice cross member for the trans brace. There's our 351 Windsor with our C4. They did a great job of doing this frame. It's all ready to go to get painted, and the cab and everything else is inside of here. And Lou takes an extra special attention to detail. I really can't even tell you guys how smooth this is, but it is so smooth. And any little thing he sees that he doesn't like, he's going back over it. So he's like ready to paint it, and then he's like, no, it's not good enough. But the firewall is all done. All nice and smooth. Ready to go, ready for paint. And then the inside of here, custom made this and modified all of it to actually fit the transmission and everything in. It looks like it's brand new, and that's how it came, but he actually had to modify that significantly. And we've got our hood and all the rest of the body panels. We also deleted where the old gas can filler was right here. Obviously it's all gone now, because we might move the gas tank underneath the bed in the back, because normally the gas tank sits here. So we may relocate that. It's not hard to do. Here we go. This is supposed to be Lou applying the final coat of primer but he actually ended up putting another coat on top of this after he was done, and he found some more imperfections. So yeah, we'll just say that this was the last one, but he still had another round to go with it before he actually applied the paint. Here's the very first coat of paint that the entire truck is seeing. We went with Guardsman Blue Metallic, and my mom actually wanted a little bit of denim added to it, which is very faint, very subtle. It's going to change it up a little bit, but we really like the way it's going to come out when it's all done. As you see at first, really before he puts anything else on it, the paint looks almost matte, because it is matte. There's no clear coat here. But as he keeps on adding more coats to it and then puts clear on, the thing really just starts to pop, as you'll see from these time-lapse videos. Now the room almost looks like it's starting to get smoky, but this is what it looks like to put down clear coat. And man, does this thing really start to look amazing. Just look at, once he hits it, how glossy it gets afterwards. This isn't even the finished product here, which I didn't realize they do once that the clear coat is dried. They're actually going to wet sand this with up to 5,000 grit sandpaper to actually give it that perfect shine. The Raptor lining inside the cab looks great, and the dashboard my dad wanted all blue to match everything else. This is the hood and everything else that's getting ready for their final coats as well. And without further ado, here's what the truck looked like when we first got it, comparatively to what it looks like now. Right, that just about wraps up all the bodywork that we're going to do on the F100. Lou's just got to put the thing back together, and then we're going to bring it back to our place and start finishing the entire project. I have a bunch of episodes that I've already done on this truck, getting it to this point, and we're going to be doing a lot more going forward on the engine, transmission, wiring, putting the entire truck together, interior. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, consider subscribing. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.